Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. Here, this is the spot where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Welcome home, Brains. There's only one requirement to hang out on the edge, is that you open your big brain and close your small mind. Did you bring your thinking caps? It's time to put them on, because the conversation starts now.
Is crazy, Phyu, and they had the nerve to try to start that stuff here in San Diego yesterday with a little riot at the beach.
Oh,
the Black Lives Matter versus the Trump supporters. I want them to sit their behinds down and worry about getting through this pandemic. Trump is over with. He's out of here. He's not ever coming back. Why are they still fighting that? I don't get it.
I don't understand why people want to go over too much about this. It's by majority vote, and if they don't believe in their voting system, it's the whole system. It's not working, and they have to accept that this is what many people voted, and he's out. He's out.
But the thing of it is if it didn't work pro, what makes them think it's going to work con? So if it didn't work for what we voted for, what makes you think that it's going to be the right vote if we flip it the other way?
Yeah, I think they have to just honor the majority of the vote. They just have to honor it now. And like in here with Brexit, many people didn't want it, but the majority has voted out. We just have to honor it, because it's not. It's the essence of the democracy in the first place.
Is there a democracy in Mogok in Burma where you were from?
It's in transit towards democracy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was dictatorship, military government ruling until 2014, when the ruling party, current ruling parties, got the power, and we are in transitional period into democracy.
And everyone's version of democracy is different. It's not always our way. It's what works for you and your people and your rights. Were you there during the dictatorship?
Yes, I was there. But in fact, when people say dictatorship, it's to do with the culture as well. Like, for example, now with COVID, you might also see the difference between how the West handled the COVID and the East. Because East and Asia, they are handling it very well. Because, in fact, if you look at COVID, here it's more like a guidance. Say, for example, and they will say people stay in and don't go out, wear mask. It's pretty much like guidance. But over there, it's more like a rule. So you have to follow. And that's why it is more effective. That is my opinion.
Well, it's my opinion too, because I've been there. When I got off the plane in China, we don't talk a lot about my trip to China, because, girl, that was one of the greatest trips I've ever taken. And so I got there and I saw these people with masks on, and I was like, ooh, that is so unattractive. But I see why. And it's law and order. Okay, it is law and order. Another sweet thing. Oh, I forgot to tell y'all where we are. We're on the edge, Brains. And that's my guess. Phyu Phyu Thwe. She's a sweetheart. She's a sweetheart, and she is a woman of philanthropic means. She's in the world of finance. She's going to teach us all about tea and the work that she's doing with her village, and it's just going to be exciting. But back to the story. I get to China, and we're with the driver, and they blow the horn, and when they blow the horn, the people wave and they smile. And I was like, what is the culture of this waving and smiling? You know what he told me? He said, because you've avoided a conflict. You did not hit my bicycle. You did not run over my duck. Maybe I was distracted. The horn is in the car for a purpose. We use it for that purpose. And so now when people blow the horn at me, I smile and I wave. But here in the United States, I'm telling you, they'll give you the middle finger and cuss you and your mother out at the same time. Oh my God, how dare you blow your horn at me? Well, you were distracted. I'm blowing the horn so you don't hit my car. You know, whatever it is. So people really have it confused. And I don't believe that all of the things in a dictatorship are all that bad. But then too, I got a secret fascination for dictators. Yes, I told them myself. Now, you know, I don't like how they mistreat people and kill people and all that, but how they capture people's attention and how they get people to follow rules and how they set up these rules. And it's law and order, it's command. And I see that our countries, our westernized countries, are moving more towards that way. As they said once before, it's going to be a one world order, and it's scary. It's scary. I didn't think I'd live to see it.
It is. And I think it will be all of us if we can all follow the law and the respect everyone's rights, and it will become a better world for everyone with democracy embedded within our society. That would have been a better world for everyone.
But see, everyone has a different interpretation of what right and wrong is. And I'm seeing that more and more. It's not based off reality. It's like, this is red. No matter what you say, this is red. Well, someone might say, oh, well, that's ruby, or that's crimson, or that's this. It is people's interpretation of what they perceive to be the truth. What I'm hoping is that we are mature enough to allow people space.
Yes.
If you don't like something, okay, you don't like it, but you don't agitate and aggravate and insult and try to dominate someone because they don't like a particular thing.
Yeah.
That's
yes. And we have to accept that we are like Marmite. It's people might like it, people might not like it, but if people don't like it, it doesn't become our enemy.
right.
They should not become our enemy. We should just accept that, okay, we have different likes. That's why that what make us individual.
That's
because
right.
we are very different, and it's like I noticed you have a different hairstyle today.
I know, I'm telling you,
It's like the other day you fancy
straight hair,
straighter
yeah,
hair,
I
and
did.
today you fancy cut, but it doesn't make why you changing one from the other. It make you more who you are, become more distinctive and unique. And
makes me more attractive to my man, girl. He ain't got to look for nobody else. All I got to do is put on a different hair option.
It's very, very cool idea.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? Wigs make me happy. You know, it's a part of my creativity. It's like, who can I be? Who do I feel today? Do I feel curly? Do I feel straight? But what we want to feel is a cup of some good tea. And I am so honored to talk about tea today. So we started out a little kind of heavy conversation, but we're going to get a great education. Now, Phyu is living in the United Kingdom and originally from a country that I know of Burma. It's called Mogok.
Oh, it's called Myanmar, and I come from an area called Mogok. Yes.
And it is just wonderful what she has done to give back to the community and to her village. She started a tea company. Can you guys see this, Brains? Let me get this up real close. You see this? This is the black tea. Rakashan.
Rakashan is the company selling our tea. Yeah.
Is the distribution company, but it is Mogok Tea. And what she did was she started this to help sustainability, also to provide jobs for senior citizens and the youth. So I'm going to let her tell you more about her story. Welcome her to the edge. Phyu.
Hi, hello everyone. Hello, Brains. Thank you very much.
She's here.
Thank you. Actually, I started Mogok Tea in 2019 because I left my country in 2004. And many years later, I went back and visit my village. But I was very fortunate enough to be in London to be able to study the Western culture, Western democracy, and living in a very free world. But whenever I go back, I find it very I find a lot of people in back home having a difficult life, especially some of my childhood friends, because the there is not much work there now because Mogok in the past it's a mining area and they mine rubies and sapphires and it has been mining for hundreds and hundreds of years. So now the mining uh, is much less and with all the different rules and everything. So a lot of us leave the village, leave the town to search for anything else. So I thought, okay, I'm going to set up something that it's sustainable for many people, create some jobs. And then turn out my family has some tea tea and some land with tea plants already. So that's where I decided, okay, that will be tea. But the tea that we are making is loose tea and premium tea. So you might be very familiar with those dark tea. You know, here in the UK they call it dark tea. You put it in the water, it changes color. It's in
This is what she's manufacturing, brains, and I use this.
Oh yeah, that is very good one. And you put it in there and you steep it and you take it out. But the good thing about those loose tea is, you know, with the dark tea that we are using, it's in a bag. So what it does is it's used all the plastic material and all the other. Even now, people are changing into more compostable tea bag which only even biodegrade in a high heat. But the normal tea bag that we are using, it has a lot of plastic. So we are drinking with somebody with the plastic in it. So it's not good for our health. That's why loose tea itself is very, very good. And the difference in our tea making is we are hand rolled tea. So everything from beginning to an end, hand pick, uh, hand process, and it's all loose leaf. And the other thing we can do is you can brew up to 4 times.
Yep, it is.
So
it's amazing. It's amazing.
It's value for money.
It is.
Good.
And you know what? There's different types of teas. Okay, so the tea that she is producing is a white tea, a green tea, and a black tea. And from my experience, what I know is that a white tea is good for people that are have a lot of inflammation or they're experiencing symptoms or sign of cancer. They drink a lot of white tea. As far as the black tea, I hear that that's better for your circulation, rheumatoid, clogged arteries and things like that. And the green tea is very good as a stimulant and weight loss. And that's what I'm drinking, the green tea. And
Yeah.
all these teas are organic. Again, take a look at these, brains. This is not your Lipton tea bag, okay? This is loose leaf. You measure it, you brew it, and you steep it. And again, I didn't really realize, I'm thinking that it's just like some sort of tissue paper, but it is a plastic involved in the weaving of that we use for those dip teas. And they're not good, they're not good. And a lot of people put in sugar or milk. They don't understand the importance of allowing the palate to accept the natural bitterness or sweetness or sourness, whatever it is. Your palate needs to be susceptible to all of that. I know when I was in China, another thing, I had some tea and the waitress came and she says, "Oh, would you like some of that sweet poison with your tea?" And I was like, hell no. What are you talking about? Sugar. The effects of sugar. They call it sweet poison. And so I have learned, and it has taken a little bit of time, but I have learned to be able to ingest my tea, not coffee so much, but tea without sugar. And I really find that it is a lot more stimulating, a lot more soothing. Would you agree?
Yes, yes. And there is another thing. Um, there is a amino acid called L-theanine that is only can be found on the tea plant.
Mm.
The L-theanine, what it does is it brings the relaxation to your body, and then it reaches when you take the tea, it reaches your brain within 30 minutes for your body for your body not to change any metabolism, and then it help with your blood pressure as well. It reduces it, and also what it does is, if we have bad breath, tea reduces that as well.
Girl,
It
let me tell you.
Yeah,
Can it
and
can
purify
this
your blood. It does a lot of things, and it purify your skin. It help with the digestion system as well.
Yep, it does. It really does. And again, like you say, it helps with their bad breath. I hope it helps with their bad words. Because people don't say, when you're upset or something, they don't say, go get a cup of coffee. The first thing they say is go get a cup of tea.
And also, when we are drinking tea, we are connecting with people, because what it does is it involves tea. When you're drinking a cup of tea, not many people might not realize it. It calm you down. It slow down. It slow you down, and then it connected with people, and always we connected and it connected with, because it's involved many people making throughout the process as well. So
Mhm.
when you are drinking a cup of tea, we are connecting with the world who are making tea, and honoring their hard work.
It is, and it's very ceremonial, um, especially in the Asian culture. I mean, there is a whole tea ritual. Someone taught me something too. They said when you drink, the proper way to drink is you don't stick your pinky out because you're snobbish, but you do look into the bottom of the cup, and you honor the person that you pour the tea for. I mean, I see, again, like a lot of geishas, there's a whole tea ceremony that they go through, that that's a courting ceremony. You have to learn that, like you have to go to finishing school. You have to learn to brew the tea. So what does your family and friends think about you starting Mogok Tea?
First, they thought I am crazy. Because in our area there is no one making tea as a career out of tea.
Mm.
So a lot of people think she just got this crazy idea from Western and she's gonna give up. But now they start to realize that this is actually a business that is helping them. Like, for example, something that I haven't mentioned is tea is quite seasonal. So many tea plantation or tea holder in the area, they have the seasonal worker. But for me, I have to make an example and show people that this can be a business. This can be an example business to, and it can be a rewarding career. First of all, to bring my community back into the area, because a lot of people are leaving. So instead of employing people seasonally, I employ them yearly. So people are paid throughout the year, even though there is non-harvest season.
Wow. See, and that's very innovative. And like you said, you created a lot of jobs for senior citizens who felt that there was no way for them to continue to gain a income because the younger generations and the millennials and Gen Alpha and Gen Z, they're not really into farming and agriculture. They're into the sustainability, but they're not into picking teas. How do the senior citizens feel about being able to have a job?
Oh, they are very, very happy and honored. And the greatest thing about uh, what it help what it does make it more uh, satisfying is when I spoke to those elderly, they didn't have a job before, and they are not in a age to go and do any sort of work in the mine. So one of the lady, she's over 60, and of course there is no state pension for her because unless you work for government, there is no state pension. And she when she talked to me, she said, I'm very lucky that I have a job in your factory because many people don't have a job, especially during COVID. um, they are having a job and they are not having to worry for their 3 meal. And when somebody tell me we are grateful for having this job, and that is more rewarding than anything else I have ever done. So I am very, very happy.
I'm very, very proud of you too. We want to talk about COVID, but let me go back to tea. So let me tell you my other story in China. So Brains, I go being an American, I'm buying up everything, okay, because I don't think I'm ever gonna get there again. I go to the tea shop, and in the tea shop, they have everything. They have tea to make you beautiful. They have tea to, reduce your blood pressure. They have tea to stimulation. They have tea for aphrodisiacs. They've got tea for everything. So I'm just buying up all these teas. So I come home, I have some loose leaf tea, and I start hallucinating. And I'm like really tripping, right? I mean, everything is everything. I'm just as happy. And I told my husband, I said, baby, I said, something's wrong. He said, why? I said, I'm feeling real strange. He said, well, what did you do today? I said, well, I had, just some tea and just, he said, did you eat? I goes, yeah. And I said, well, I had, a couple cups of tea. And he said, what tea did you drink? And I said, well, I brought the tea back from China. He said, well, how much did you drink? And I said, a couple mugs full. He said, what? I said, yeah. He said, well, how did they serve it to you in China? I said, like this. This is my cup from China. He said, baby, do you realize that tea is medicine and it is medicinal? And I was like, I realize it now. I was bugging out of my head. So Brains, when you go to these herbal stores and you want to look at a holistic approach, be careful about what you do and the amount that you consume. Realize that a lot of medicines are made from organic plants, tea being one of them. I'm hoping that you can come up with some sort of strain to, help relieve the congestion of people with this COVID-19. I mean, they say marijuana can cure anything. I'm sure tea can work on some things as well. Tell me about your village and how there is no COVID there.
There is no COVID, and
wow,
there is no COVID. I think there are many factors because number one, people follow the rules. And very beginning of COVID, all the social distancing and not being social distancing, they follow. And secondly, it's quite remote. So we don't go to town unless we needed it. And then we also have the very strict guidelines to stay indoors. And the whole area in our village, there is no one, no COVID.
See what happens when you follow the rules, Brains? You can reduce it. But no, we want to fight, we want to argue, we want to protest, we want to beat people up for protecting themselves. I wish somebody would talk to me about my mask. You're gonna see some mace, because it's really, really, it's awful that people just don't want to follow the rules. I get it. Nobody is trying to take away your civil liberties. They're trying to save your life. But hey, if you don't want it, that's up to you. I'm wearing my mask. I'm doing my thing. Now there's all these different strains that are coming up. It's crazy. So where do you see Mogok Tea 5 years from now?
5 years from now, we are, we can, we expect, if COVID is over, that we will be selling all our tea throughout Europe in all those premium store and in Burma. Because currently, when we started making tea, a lot of the people in the factory, they have not seen, how do I put it? They have not actually done the process that we are making. So the way we make our tea is very scientific approach. So what we do is, we have a we have production sheet for everything, and then the reason we have all those is to trace how this is all made, and to keep the all the to make sure that we have the characteristic of all the
Right.
good tea, the good tea. So our consultant and the lady who trained all our tea production is Scottish Tea Factory, and she's an award-winning tea maker.
Mm.
And then from there, what it does is, we have got a lot of uh, our tea. I don't know if you already have. It has got all the tea notes of beginning notes, end notes, and how you can find all these, or when you drink, it's like a fine wine, and
Right.
the whole process, what we did is like that. So we
Like,
are,
we're also like making a fragrance too, because you have to know the keys, and it's your intellectual property. I mean, this is what makes Mogok Tea unique.
yes, it does. So we are hoping when COVID is over, we will be able um to start selling to many countries.
Well,
So
I'm hoping that you can sell to many countries, especially, you got to open an online tea shop. I'd love to see you do some more videos. You did a fantastic video on brewing it. I had to get out all the equipment, had to get my scale out and all that kind of stuff, but I cheated. I used this, and so that was great. But it was great for steeping the tea as well. And be able to sell, through customs and duties and all of that great stuff, because this is something that's needed worldwide. It's not just, just in Burma or in the UK. You guys got plenty of tea. We want some tea to relax us and
and
stimulate us.
mainly, yeah, especially the whole purpose is to provide a quality product for our consumer. But while we're doing that, we want to be able to employ more people, meaning that many people have a choice to make a living, either to work in a safe environment in a tea factory
Yep.
and handpick tea and learn. Not only they are learning making tea, we will be throughout the supply chain. We will have people. We will need somebody who do the recording of our transactions. So we will be creating jobs throughout the supply chain.
Shipping and receiving and
Yeah,
invoicing and, computers. So there's going to be
yeah.
opportunities
It's
for everybody.
Yeah, it's not only when you talk about business, a lot of people see the end bits where the consumer and the tea maker, but we will be making jobs, creating jobs throughout the supply chain, which will help in young people, whether they want to stay at home, closer to home and making a living, or leave the country or leave the town to go and search for a living elsewhere. So that is something that we are aiming to do, and that is our ultimate purpose.
Well,
And that we are trying to create, basically, we are trying to create a legacy for our community and for the area and for the country.
that's awesome. Because again, it's underserved and overlooked communities that are ravished with this. And when it's people like you that give a hand up and a hand out, is what makes the world a much better place. And I am so glad that you decided to share this with me and my brains. And you know, you've given me a feather in my cap. You said, wow, you know, since you've been promoting me on your show and things like that, you said my numbers have increased. And so that is my goal, Brain.
Yes, thank you. And we are very lucky that Rakuten is the only company, the first company ever from the US uh, to start distributing our tea. And we are very grateful for that. So if you are in the UK, you can buy our tea from Rakuten Tea Company. That is a Rakuten Tea Company. And then we are also selling in the UK as well. So in the UK, you can see this is distributed from Bella Barista. This is our tea.
I like that can.
Yeah, actually this photo, what they are wearing, I don't know if you can see.
Yeah, wait, hold it real still. There you go. Okay.
Yeah, that is in fact the costume of Palau. So my mom is in fact Palau and my dad is Burmese. This is Palau costume. That's where the people in the village will wear during the festive period.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that is awesome. So tell my brains again, you know, how to get in contact with you. I'm going to put all the links for you to go in. Again, you know, if you are in the United States, if you are in Canada, don't let that discourage you. You can still connect with Rakuten and get it and send it. It takes a little bit longer to get it to you. It's worth it. The price point on it, she said, is about $19. But again, for one, you know, caption full, you can brew it 4 times. And you are getting the pure essence of what the tea is and the full medicinal purposes and the healing and the calm. So give them your information, Phyu.
Yes, I will send the link. And if you want to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, it's Mogok Tea. It's called MOGOKTEA, mogoktea.com. We are on Instagram, we are on Facebook, and we are on Twitter.
So white tea is very unique, even in the way that it's processed and manufactured. Tell me a little bit about your white tea.
Our white tea, in fact, from the beginning to an end, our white tea is never been touched with hand or any of. So before we make our white tea, we wear the cotton gloves and we pick them. We put it in a basket, but the basket is layered with the cotton.
Wow.
So when we handle it, we don't just we handle it very gently. And the way white tea is made is it's very fragile, and we don't want any breakage or anything. Once it's break, it started changing the color.
Oh wow!
Oxidation, and to prevent from all that, we have to use it gently. And the other thing that what we do in during our process in the white tea is as many tea manufacturer and know, to make the white tea to dry in a certain temperature, people create a room. You create an environment that is suitable for white tea. But where in Mogok tea, we don't create the environment. When we make the tea, we will look at the weather for today. So wake up in the morning, pick the tea, and then we will look at temperature is this, humidity is there.
Wow.
So if it's not ideal for temperature for white tea, then we cannot make it. And there is only in a couple of months in a whole year that the weather is ideal for white tea.
Wow. So
and during that time, yes. And during that time, yes, during that time, the tea is beginning of the harvest. So when it does, it's the first time the tea awaken. So it doesn't, we cannot pick as much. And then later in the month, like in the year, around June, July season, when it started raining, we get more leaves out of the plant. However, the weather is not ideal for white tea. The reason we don't want to create an environment in a white tea is, firstly, it's very costly. It's unlike in many countries, we cannot just switch on the light and light come back. We need to use the generator.
Okay.
And if we have to use all this generator, it is against our sustainable project. So we are just trying to work with the nature, what the nature is giving us. So that what makes our white tea more difficult to make. Therefore, it became a very limited edition. So in the last year, the whole year, we only produce about, the first year, we produced about 5 kilos of white tea out of 200 kilos.
Wow.
And last year, we made 500 kilos total in the year, and only less than 50 kilos is white tea. So 10% of our yield.
Wow. And let me ask a thing about growing tea, because I don't know. Does tea grow from a seed? And then I'm sure that you pods and you plant them, but how do you grow tea?
Tea can be grown from the seed, and then you can also grow from a branch. And then for us, we grow from the seed because that can last longer, and it gives you stronger branches and stronger plant. But what we are doing in Mogok Tea is, you will see many countries, when you go to Sri Lanka, India, or many other tea growing countries, tea are in a bush. So what they did is they cultivated to make it more plucking points and to have this monoculture to pluck more. But where we are, Mogok Tea, we just let the tea grow taller, and we only pick a few from each plant. Where else you can get in a bush, you can pick more out of it. What it does is, the more you pick, it's like us, the more we work, the more energy we need. And the same with the plant. The more you pick out of the leaf, the plant, you need more to feed. But we don't want to use fertilizer or anything. So we, instead of tiring or taking more out of the tea, we just pick a little bit from each tree and let it grow naturally. That's why
well, see, that's good too, because these, all the genetic modifications in these fertilizers that they're putting steroids in them because they want these plants to grow big and full. They're genetically modified. They're not organic. So all of that is really, really useful to know. Thank you so much for that. That's cool.
Yeah, otherwise we are consuming something and everything goes into our body and it starts affecting. So we need to make the important things about it is, whenever we buy everything or whatever we consume, we should know where it's coming from and how it is made. And in the future, on our Mogok Tea website as well, we will be putting videos of how our tea is made, who is making it. Because after all, ultimately the maker should get credit for their hard work, not me.
Right. Because again, you're the brain, but they are the machine, and they they keep it going, because without them, I mean, you couldn't do the things that you do. And they're teaching people and they're cultivating people as they go along through the process. And there was something else that we had talked about. We talked about sustainability of food, and I have gotten into that. I have the most beautiful little basket, and when I go to the grocery store, people think that I think I'm the business, because I do. But I take my produce and I put it in there. They're so worried about these plastic bags. And the first thing you do, Brains, when you go in the grocery store, is you rip off a plastic bag, you open it up, you put the lettuce in there, you get home, you take the lettuce out and throw away the plastic bag. What was the purpose of it to begin with? Oh, I don't want it to touch the dirty counter. Do you realize how many dirty places it's touched before it touched that counter? All you do is come home and clean it thoroughly with a little vinegar and water, whatever you're going to do, and keep it. But when I was in China, there was no refrigeration. I went in there and the eggs were there. There was fresh killed. There was fresh ducks and fresh chickens there. And it was no smell, and there was no refrigeration. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh yeah, in our village, nobody has refrigerator, and because what we do is every morning, early in the morning, there will be people from this neighboring village who are bringing with their, they put it in a basket as well, and they will just put it in the middle of the village, so people will come out from their house and buy for the day that they need, and then they will just buy for the day and go home cook. So that's how people live. We don't keep things that we don't need, and people only go to town to buy stuff uh, during festive season or things like that. So there is less waste, and I think we are producing more than we need, and we are buying more than we need and stocking up so much, and then when it reaches expired date we start throwing away. So there is a lot of money as well as a lot of resources that we are throwing away.
Because I do a lot of, I was doing that. And now I go, and I'm a meat eater, but I go to the butcher shop. Okay. I'm going to pay good money for me a steak. If I'm going to eat a steak, I'm going to eat a good one. I'm going to eat a fresh chicken that's been corn fed. I can't go to some of these stores. I can't go to fast food restaurants. Fast food restaurants used to be okay, but now with COVID, I'm worried about the person that's cooking and also the deterioration. They're not flipping the food the way that they used to. It doesn't taste when you go to these restaurants and you bring it home, it doesn't taste the same, So I understand that. And I like that. I go to the grocery store every 3 or 4 days. And a lot of things here in the United States, and I'm sure they're in the UK, are processed. They have a lot of additives. They have a lot of preservatives. But what happened to the days of canning? Getting some fresh green beans and canning them, or getting some peaches and canning them. That's a lost art. And those are really natural foods that will sustain us, that'll have carried people through the winter, So we need to get back to some of the basic simplicities of life. And I think this is what's teaching us all a great lesson, is to go back to sustainability, because our resources are really, really, they're
I
fragile.
think, the nature is telling us to slow down, and then to be mindful and aware of our actions. Basically, our action is now affecting our environment and affecting everyone else.
That's right.
So we just have to be mindful of what we're going to buy now, and also as I think nowadays a lot of even millennials are even more aware of what we are going to buy, and a lot of people tend to vegan, vegetarian, because a lot of younger generation now becoming aware of this environmental effect that causes due to our actions.
Right. And that's what's making us sick too. And it may not have caused the situation that we're in right now, but it has deteriorated our bodies so much that these diseases are necessitizing and changing and morphing and really deteriorating our heart, our blood, diabetes. All of these things are a cause of is an effect of the cause.
Yes.
That's crazy. But that was great. I really love that. Brains, you know what? Tea is also a great compost for your garden. Phyu, tell us a little bit of some things that we can do with the residual of the tea once we get finished with it.
So after you brew one time, but try and brew up to 3-4 times, because sometimes second brew of the tea can be more interesting than the first brew. And after you finish with the tea and the leaf, you can put it in a jar or a container, put it in your fridge, because what it does is tea soak up all the bad smell from the fridge, or even if you leave it in the kitchen counter, it will take all the smells. And after that, throw it in your garden. What it does is it makes a very good organic compost, and you will see the difference in your flower in the garden, because it does help with all that.
And let me tell you, I do that with my coffee grinds, but I wasn't sure if I could do it with tea. So I'm glad that you told me that, and I will definitely do that, because it makes my flowers, they seem like they're so happy. So, oh, here she comes with the fertilizer.
And also, and with our green tea, you can even make salad with it. You can eat that tea leaf. Yes.
Wow.
So, and the green tea is fresh, very fresh. So, and you can even, after you brew it, drink it, and then the leaf that you have left with, you can make salad with it. And in Burma, something that I forgot to mention, in our Burma, the country, we eat tea.
Really?
As a salad with assorted nuts. Yes.
Well, you have to send me the recipe.
Sorry?
I said you have to send me a recipe so I can make me a salad. I'm really into salads.
Yes, you can.
So can you mix it with some spinach and some nuts and some mandarin?
Oh, what you do first with the tea leaf, you put a little bit of lime and salt and mix it. If you like ginger, you just slice a tiny ginger into a very, you can even shave it and put it in there and mix it. And then that will give you a little slight bitterness of very savory flavor. And then you can mix it with any assorted nuts and put it, and some onion. Oh no, sorry, not onion. Some tomato.
Oh,
and
is it
tomato.
like, do you crush it together? Is it like a dressing, or
No, you don't. It will just be like you don't crush it. You just mix it, slowly mixing it, and put a tiny bit dash of vegetable oil.
Wow, because I know ginger is really good. I sometimes, instead of having tea, I will just boil some ginger root and put a little bit of lime, and that I feel really good inside. My lungs feel good. My digestion works really well. So that's a great suggestion. Oh yeah. So see, there's a lot of things you can do with tea, brains, besides just drink it. So when you don't want to hear all of the ugliness that's going on in the world, follow Mogok Tea. Thank you so much for being here on the edge with me and my brains.
Thank you, April. Thank you very much.
You are awesome, and you're gonna come back when you do your relaunch. Let me know what's going on, and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna finish enjoying my tea, okay? And be sure that I drink it in the right portions. Bye-bye, baby.
Thank you. Bye.